As we observe Safer Internet Day 2019 with a global theme of Together for a Safer Internet, I wanted to use this opportunity to share with you an interview that I conducted with a very inspirational lady by the name of Lauren Lefebvre. In February 2014, Lauren tragically lost her 14-year-old son, Breck Bednar, to an online predator. As a result of these circumstances, she founded the Breck Foundation in his memory, which is a charity that aims to spread awareness of online predators and online grooming. They do this via visiting schools, giving seminars, liaising with the police service, and they've done so much to raise awareness. I do hope that you find this interview useful. Please do share it because it's such an important topic. The more we know, the more we can look out for the signs and we can protect our young people.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the Breck Foundation and what it is that you're promoting?
Yes, well, we set up the Breck Foundation to try to make something good come out of the tragedy of losing my son, Breck, when he was 14 years old. He was groomed online by an online predator, and this was 2 years ago that it happened, and probably 3 years ago when they met. So the predator spent over a year grooming Breck, and then up to 4 years grooming some of the other boys. And he was grooming several boys at one time in different counties, at different schools, and even some in the States. So his reach was quite widespread.
That's the scary thing, because it's online, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, it could be anywhere in the world. And
exactly.
You don't always see the signs. And
I did feel Breck was being groomed. I just didn't know who to go to then. And so part of the reason I've set up the foundation is to make everyone aware of different resources to find help, also to recognize the warning signs, and for people to be able to know that it's the right thing to do, to report, to talk about it, to go to a trusted adult, to go to the police, to go to CEOP, Child Exploitation and Online Protection Center.
Yes, a lot of people aren't familiar with CEOP. So,
I do a lot of speaking at schools and conferences, and even at East Surrey Hospital this week. They were lovely, and a lot of them said they didn't know about CEOP, and even in my own county where I'm trying to, especially try to share this
Surrey,
awareness.
yeah.
Yes, so
that's quite surprising.
It is messages that we all need to know, because the internet has grown so quickly, and our children are on online younger and younger, which means they are online younger with strangers. We have to educate them to be able to empower themselves to make the right decisions online for themselves. Because no matter how strict we try to be, no matter how much we try to restrict on the parental controls, which are all important with their settings, they still will at some point find themselves speaking to people that they don't know online.
Yeah.
And our message is never, ever meet someone you've only met online in a private place, whether you're a child or an adult. Because
that's true. I mean, when you think of things like the online dating,
exactly.
which, a lot of us these days, it feels like it's sometimes the only way to meet somebody these days. And
it needs to be in a private place. It is.
It's got to be somewhere where, there's people around, you let friends or relatives, somebody know where you're going, because like you said, you could be talking to somebody for months or years.
Yes.
You still don't know that person.
And you build up a rapport, and you feel like you do know each other, especially in gaming. It's quite a team-orientated activity, and it's a little bit like a virtual clubhouse. And they, when I would hear the boys, they'd be laughing, chatting, socializing. Nothing seemed evil about it in itself. Breck was having a good time. He was a good boy. He was clever, doing well at school. But unfortunately, this predator was after something else, and the predator they'll take their time, they'll tell lies, they'll manipulate, control. It is brainwashing.
They'll find a weak point as well and try and sort of maybe promise them something.
Yes,
or
we all
try
have vulnerabilities.
Yeah, absolutely. And all it takes is for that person to pinpoint that vulnerability, tap into that, and
they'll offer money, gifts. Breck got an iPhone. Breck got promises of Microsoft apprenticeships, as well as the other boys, and offers of career opportunities. So whatever the child happens to be interested in, this predator can pretend to offer or actually give some of these things to the child.
To lure them in.
The boys were all getting free things online, and when you're a teenager, when you're anyone, free things are nice. So that was the way he was buying their friendship, gaining their trust. And whether a predator is doing it for child sexual exploitation or radicalization, the signs are all the same. They are control, manipulation, and those offers of things that, you have to, the young person needs to ask themselves, why are they giving me all of this? If, if it seems too good to be true,
and I suppose
maybe
they
it
probably
is.
think as well, if my other online friends are getting it as well, then
Yes.
it's not just me, so
Exactly.
I'm sure it's okay.
They all sort of were in it together. And
Yeah.
then this pedophile would sort of zero in on different boys at different times. So it's not just a boy or girl thing. It could be
No,
any
it could
child
be anyone,
and any
yeah.
age. And it's just so important that we talk to our children, that children feel safe, that they can talk to an adult, whether it's their parent, care, trusted adult,
Or
and that
teacher or anybody like that.
And it needs, if there's a concern, it needs to be sort of brought forward to more than just one person or one source. In my case, I went to the police, and I happened to have two completely incompetent people that deal with my call. So if you're reporting something, you need to make sure that you report it to more than one source, that you report it more than once.
And if you're not happy with the
Yes.
response that you've gotten, or you're not
Yes.
happy that certain action's been taken,
Exactly.
you want to know that you can go somewhere else. And I think
Yes.
what's so wonderful about the Breck Foundation, I was looking at your website, is that, you're explaining to people that go to different sources.
Yes.
Here are different places that you can go to.
Yeah.
You don't have to just, if you're not getting help from the police for
Or the
whatever reason, or
school
schools or whatever.
Or if a child tells their parent are busy and they're not listening, or,
Because people might probably think, they're kids, it's just a phase.
Yes.
It will go out.
well,
and
I was told,
if they're
he'll
not
grow out of it.
withdrawn or they're
Yeah.
not showing any serious signs, there's no concern.
Yes.
And that couldn't be
School
further
didn't
from the
see a
truth.
concern because Breck's grades were good and he had a good behavior in school, and so there were no concerns there. But if I would make a recommendation, it would be to go to the school and demand their help, because there were other boys at that school that were online as well. And when I tried to approach other parents, they wanted to brush it under the carpet. And they
Really?
didn't. Yes. And I really feel that we could have saved Breck had we gotten some of those other families involved. I could have gathered more information, but I was sort of shut down. The other thing is Breck wouldn't have realized he was being groomed. He was happy getting these gifts, getting the attention.
He wasn't miserable.
No.
He wasn't sad. I think sometimes we think when, a child is being groomed or bullied or something's happening, it's that kind of sullen, they're not interested in school, they don't talk to any relatives, but it's not always like that.
No, there's so many different versions, and it's really just looking at the individual child and seeing if their personality is changing in different ways, or if they are acting differently to things. And it's difficult because with Breck himself, he was at that teenage years where he was trying to pull away a bit from family and his younger siblings to be, to hang out with guys his age. And of course, the predator was older, so they wanted to hang out with him. He was teaching them to code and encrypt, and they were learning so much more through this, adult predator online than they were at school. So that was how they, sort of
So in a
really
weird
looked up
way,
to
they
him.
almost looked up to him.
They absolutely did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a big brother type of thing.
It was,
he's teaching
yeah.
us these new things.
And he didn't have the sort of rules that parents had. There was no restrictions of getting off, in time to get some sleep for bed. There were no restrictions of, you have to go do a chore or come do a family activity. The predator was presenting it as, hey, this is the life you can have with me, nonstop, do whatever you want because you're clever and you deserve it. And Breck bought into that, not realizing.
Well, he was just living on his own, apparently, in some flat.
Yes.
And it was.
No, he didn't have any real friends
No.
or family. Sadly, there was no one that actually looked after him, and he sort of fell through all the cracks of social services. He was known to the police for prior rape allegations against a 15-year-old boy. He had hacked his school computer, and he had intimidated the witness and the witness's mother through social media, and he also had indecent images of boys on his computer. And the police knew all of this. Unfortunately, the PNC, Police National Computer, wasn't looked at as it was supposed to, as it should always be looked at. And that's, another thing that the foundation is working on, is just raising awareness in every area, whether it's the children themselves, the parents, the teachers, the schools, the police, the social workers, and government
What about
as
things
well.
like, I was just going to say, about government sort of going to Parliament, trying to get maybe the local MPs or, getting people to listen,
We have gone with the MP from Purley, Chris Philp, and he did end up getting asked by Theresa May to speak about this bill that needs to go through to help police and government be able to get access to USP addresses of people that they think are maybe criminals or doing, cybercrime.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yes,
because that's the thing. You know, when you're online, you're invisible.
Exactly. You
can
anything.
be or say or do whatever you
Exactly.
want, and that's the scary thing. They're pretending in a lot of cases to be teenage boys or teenage girls, and they're grown men, and
and
God
it's
knows
not,
what.
Breck is one incident. They're happening. These incidents are happening all the time.
I'm not that up with the modern technology and knowing how to put all of these measures in place and stuff like that. You hear about what you need to do, and you try to do what you can, like you were saying about this case, but sometimes these kids are so advanced with them now. By the age of 3 and 4, most children, particularly in our society, have access to some form of an iPad, a smartphone, and they know how to work these things.
They are very advanced, and I think the thing is all children will break a rule here or there.
Of course they will.
It's a rite of passage. It's learning and growing
and boundaries
up. So that's why I think it's important, as much as it is for the parents to talk to the children, have those restrictions. The children themselves need to know about these real life stories, so that even if they do have someone that they're speaking to online, that they never meet them in a private place. They always go with a trusted adult. They always meet in a very public place, and they never put themselves in a situation where they won't be able to escape.
And hopefully they'll talk amongst each other as well, because I think that's another important thing. Because sometimes as a teenager you think, I don't really want to talk to my parents or my teachers or whatever. But, the BBC documentary that was aired a few months ago, I thought was, it was brilliant. It's the sort of thing that it sticks in your mind. Everybody I've spoken to, friends, relatives, have all said, as soon as I mentioned the story, they said, we saw that on the, it was so well done, and it's made me think now, and it's made me talk to my children. And I think, sadly, we have to talk to our kids at a younger age now, because of the world that we live in, and because of the advent of all this modern technology.
Absolutely.
They're exposed to things quicker. I don't believe that there's necessarily any more paedophiles than there were 25 years ago when I was a kid.
But there is easier access.
But there's easier access for them to get hold of
I mean, I was pleased with the BBC documentary Murder Games, and the fact that the boys, Breck's gaming friends and school friends, came on and spoke really made it much more poignant and much more educational. Yes, to be able to see what they were going through and still are going through now. They were all groomed as well, so I've been so appreciative to them. And they, we all look back. They knew something was sort of wrong, but they didn't know what to do about it. And that's why when I speak to schools, I will say, don't just turn a blind eye if your friend's being groomed or bullied, or they're posting things that look untowards, or if it seems like, your friends are maybe self-harming and going on the wrong sites, or maybe, showing pictures of themselves that they shouldn't, that are too sexual. It takes a friend, it takes a peer to help sometimes to make these reports, to bring it to the attention of an adult who can help. Because even, if you know that it's happening and you don't do anything and this person gets in trouble, it's just going to hurt you as well. So really, it's so important that we all do look after each other and make these reports and work together to stay safe.
Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it informative. If you'd like to find out some more information about online safety, you can visit saferinternet.org.uk, and of course you can get in touch with Lauren Lefebvre via the Breck Foundation. You can go to their website, thebreckfoundation.org, or you can follow them on all social sites at the Breck Foundation. If you prefer to speak to somebody on the phone, you can give them a call on 01883 621 102. To quote the motto for the Breck Foundation, play virtual, live real. Thank you.